Yeah, slightly.
Opening statement?
Yes, beyond ecstatic about, we to make those big jumps in our program for the alumni and for our university is huge, right? But the cool thing is we're all trying to deal with pressure, and our players are learning how to create pressure on opponents and understand how to deal with pressure. So it's extremely impressive that we were able to do that in their house, on their turf, and turn around and do it to another big team like Ohio State. So very happy with my young women and what they did to handle the pressure and put pressure on our opponent to make them crumble, because that's all we're dealing with nowadays is that mental strength. So it's a lot of people behind the scenes, my former teammates included, are very, very, very happy, to say the least. Yeah.
So coming off your first weekend where you got swept and didn't win a set, how do you explain the turnaround to put something like that on the board to beat Florida?
Yeah, we just got back in the gym and refocused about being ourselves, because we do have some talent in our gym, and they can create things, and understanding to be able to see things clearly in the moment, to be able to create that pressure I was just mentioning. And we repeatedly did that. Even though we lost the first sets in those matches, our players responded very well to how to create pressure in the next set. We flip-flopped back and forth, but that's what we focused on, is like, hey, let's just go play like ourselves, because that first weekend, unfortunately, we didn't show up, which was a surprise to all of us, because against our scrimmage, we played very well, and then going into that first weekend. But it was on the road, it's against some great opponents, and just rattled us a little bit off of our game, but we got back on it. Yeah.
What did it say that after you beat Florida and your players were obviously ecstatic,
Yes.
to be able to focus, come back the next game against another very good team
Right.
and do what you did?
Right. They were still doing recovery at midnight, and I was like, hey, and laughing and celebrating. It's like, hey, we got another game, right? Us as coaches were like on it. We were already thinking about Ohio State. Grateful for the celebration, no doubt, but it's in our nature to refocus, and we just had to get our players taking care of themselves physically, but also preparing mentally. And we did a great job, I think, in the locker room to prepare, but then that first set, they took it, Ohio State took it, but then we refocused and we brought some pressure. So it's in those small moments that we have to capture their minds, and I think we did a good job, and they jumped back on them. Gosh, I'll even go back to the Florida match when they hit very well, and then we refocused and took total control of that fifth set. So when you look at the fifth set, Ohio State, and they jumped on us after we had that huge momentum in the fourth set, like it's just those small, like mental things where we're trying to gain the focus of our young women and keep them like engaged on the next play. And that fifth set of the Ohio State that's why I cried. I don't know if you saw the pictures of me crying, but the emotions of them coming back and persevering was overwhelming to me, obviously, and that's when I lost it.
So in both the Florida and Ohio State matches, it seems like the fifth is the memories that you'll have, right, for different reasons.
Yeah, but that kick in the fourth set for Maria was pretty impressive too. Yes, the fifth sets were incredible. But did you see that? It was a crazy play. So Nia went up to hit, huge block, got her slowed down. Leah's in there trying to cover, like most liberos, sacrificing their face. And she went to play it, and Maria was right there, and she kicked it over for a kill. It like spiraled in. It was like a huge, you got to check it out. It was a big play. It should be on ESPN for like ESPN highlights. But wow. It was pretty neat. They went nuts because they goof off with their feet all the time. You're allowed to use any body part, so it was a fascinating play. So that was really like a crush. I think you just we can't get anything down. Like they're kicking balls over and getting them killed. And we took that fourth set. So we had the momentum going into the fifth set, but they jumped out with some serving pressure, right? We're all trying to keep pressure on each other. And just that proud moment as a coach of like overcoming that pressure and staying steady and playing great volleyball it flipped, and obviously we closed out. Even a freshman, Gisele, came off the bench and handled that pressure with a couple digs and great serve. So I'm getting chills. Like I'm very proud of them. Yeah.
So you can beat a nationally ranked team, but you beat Florida, you know, who's run this state forever.
Yeah.
You played against them
Yes.
in a very hotly contested NCAA match back in the day.
Yes.
So all of that together, just is this a seminal moment in this program? You know,
Oh, yeah.
something you
Right.
can build off and shoot to a different place as
Oh
you
yeah.
did this?
Oh yeah. 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 To beat 10th ranked team in the nation. Yeah. Like it's a big one. A lot of history. When we went to their gym on Thursday, we were looking at all the impressive players. You know, a lot of them I played against. The history there. It just made me think about, you know, our history. We do have some great history and some phenomenal players, and it dipped a little bit. And now we got some great people in the gym, I think, to make some noise and to build up and maybe get some people on the board as well. So, because we have phenomenal volleyball history from what I knew, you know, as a young woman here growing up in Tampa, and then as a player, I remember all those great players. And I got great people in my gym, and I hope they can also get on the board. You know, just get on the wall, and because they can do some good things too. Yeah.
You mentioned Maria, obviously, and Leah, top returners, along with Caroline.
Yeah.
Tell people what difference your options up front have meant with Naya,
Yeah.
Allie, and Imani, big in the middle as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's we have some maturity for sure, and even just playing that Florida match with Leah and Caroline and Maria as returner, like having that little extra grit. I think they were extremely focused in those matches. It's awesome to see Leah back in a rhythm. Phenomenal athlete, impressive, steady player, as well as Caroline. But now we got some additional firepower. You know, Naya is just a beast up there. But Jalen had to step in for her. You know, it's a great team effort. We got a couple people, different people coming off the bench, making some key plays in that match. Maya and Jalen and then Gisele the next day. So Imani is just a steady, solid person, solid athlete. Her and TZ helped us slow those big hitters down. If you take a look at it, we're not the most effective blocking team, but we got some impressive blocks and are building up our blocking category in those matches against some incredible athletes. So both of those guys, and how about Allie? Like, such an impressive person. She knows how to score. She knows how to see the block. She knows how to hit around them, off them. She was tearing it up. I mean, you saw the capability against Georgia. I think she had a little bit of focus against them, and she went off. But then you really saw her capitalize against Florida, Ohio State, and she's going to be a major point scorer for us, I think, throughout the whole season. And not just offensively, defensively. If you track her, like, she's in great position, and, you know, maybe not all of them were points, but she definitely frustrated those hitters. Yeah.
So last year when you got on a roll and became a postseason team at the end, you know, a lot of people came to your matches, you got a nice following. So here you are back at home for the first time since then. You got NC State coming in. You're coming off a win against Florida, so obviously I know you're hoping for a big response. So what do you say about this coming up weekend, or your expectations for what it's going to be like as you guys come home?
I thought you were going to ask about the fans. I'm like, yeah, we
Fans.
need more seats.
Yeah.
We need more seats for sure. We had a great showing against University of Tampa in our scrimmage, and now we're doing so well. And I think it's going to be packed, a great environment to play in all season. But my expectations is the way we regain focus to come out this past weekend is just being ourselves. Like, I truly believe in every single one of our young women and their ability to compete, their ability to play good volleyball, to create pressure on the opponent. I believe in their minds. I believe in their physicality. I believe in their mentality. It's just the whole package of them. And so it's the same message. And even in that, we saw the type of pressure we put on those opponents. You know, great teams we played against. But then when the role reversed on Sunday, you know, where maybe that team on paper doesn't look as good as us, we started to put pressure on ourselves. So this is why my opening statement is about pressure. And so with us being at the top of the conference, like, we are going to face that team like UNF, like in our conference over and over again. So it's a good opportunity for us to learn how to grow, even in the short time, about how to maintain good volleyball and put pressure on our opponent regardless of who they are, and believing in ourselves. You know, Michael Kelly has this great believer attitude, and I totally embraced it, and it's in our culture, and we look at each other with that believer eye contact and give that believer energy. And so we just got to maintain that regardless if it's UNF, NC State, both great competitors, different levels maybe, but we got to have the same believer energy and eye contact, and then we'll be able to execute. Yeah.
Coach, this is probably an unfair question, but last year the NCAA women's volleyball was here. That was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Nebraska, Pittsburgh, Texas, Wisconsin. Where's your program in relationship to those guys?
We're still in the building process. We're not at that level. There's some physicality and different skills maybe that we can't match up necessarily with them, but we're working, and you see a lot of upsets against teams of that nature, and I think the game is changing, it's evolving, and I think we're doing a good job of evolving with it. Certain offensive tactics that we've picked up on and ways to score, a lot of different video for defensive tactics that me and my staff are picking up on to raise our level when we compete against teams like this in different higher level conferences than ours. And we took those two teams down. Maybe in the future, we got some other bright competition in front of us, and we're wanting to get into the postseason NCAA. Like the NIVC was a great experience for us, but our goal is the NCAA tournament. And you never know when you get there, it's handling that pressure. It's like we're training to peak at the end of our season, to play the conference tournament, to win the conference tournament, and to go to the NCAA tournament. And then when you're in that hot seat, it's who comes ready to play and who can perform and execute. So we'll see. I hope to get those matchups. That's why I scheduled Florida State and Florida and all these big teams in our pre-conference to be able to be ready for that level when we get there. So we'll see. But it was wonderful to have it here in Tampa, and we should have it back here in a couple of years, and maybe we'll be there.
Coach, the NFL calls it any given Sunday. You talk about upsets.
Yes.
SMU defeats Nebraska.
Yes.
2 straight sets. Nobody sees that coming. Is the gap shrinking?
Yes. And there's a lot of reasons why. I would say the transfer portal and, having some fifth-year seniors out there, some maturity. I mentioned Amani, Naya. We have these grad transfers that give us some maturity and experience on the court. It's happening all over the country. So it evens the playing field. Video, we can dive into video and really get nitpicky about, different ways to stop teams. I think that helped us this past weekend. We got a ton of slowdowns against phenomenal athletes, different. If you look at the physicality, it's different size matchups, because we can dive into those little details and stop them and slow them down. And then it takes a little bit of grit, to finish the job. But it's definitely an more even playing field. Volleyball is the most played sport, so you're seeing more and more great athletes play it. So it's competitive, and a lot of people are making a big impact in their programs, and so it should be a fun NCAA tournament this year. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.